Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well. Hope you're all staying healthy. This week on the Daly Dose YouTube video, we are giving you a very quick NBA Finals preview. We are taking a look at some of the top trends taking place right now in the NFL. A big name coach in the NBA got fired, so let's go ahead and jump in to some news right now. And one of the biggest stories over the past week has to be the Los Angeles Clippers announcing a mutual departure by head coach Doc Rivers, which interpreted means the Clippers told Doc, okay, so how about you go with that when we say mutual departure, and we'll buy your contract out, or we can fire you, pay you the money, and explain how Vinny Del Negro actually did more winning for this franchise than you ever did. Doc did have 2 years left on his contract. Now, the Clippers went 49-23 in the regular season this past year. They had the fourth best record in franchise history, but they gave up that 3-1 series lead in the Western Conference semifinals against the Denver Nuggets, and here's where it's a little bit worse. They gave up leads in that series of 16, 19, and 12 points, as their franchise's Western Conference final drought now reaches 50 years. So here's the question. What do the Los Angeles Clippers do now? I think what they do, I think they throw out a few lines and kind of see who's interested in the job. And then I think they probably just slide assistant coach Tyronn Lue one seat over. He's already on staff. Move him one seat over. He has experience. Give the job to him. But I'm telling you right now, that's not what I'd do. If it was me, I'd go get Mike D'Antoni and I'd say, here's what I want. I want your 7 seconds or less offense, and I want to make this LA Showtime. Hey, the Lakers aren't playing Showtime basketball. The Lakers are playing walk it up and ISO ball. Let's go score 130 points a night. Will be fun to watch if nothing else. Players will probably want to come here if nothing else. Hey, we all know the Clippers are Los Angeles' red-headed stepchild. Well, if you're going to have that ugly kid, you might want to dress them up and at least make them smell good. Because right now, no one cares about the Clippers. But if you injected some excitement with the Clippers, maybe they'd start to. Staying in the NBA, the 2020 NBA Finals are now set because those Los Angeles Lakers got past the Denver Nuggets in 5 games to represent the Western Conference. And the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics in 6 games over in the East. So now we get the Lakers and LeBron James going against his former team, the Miami Heat. Heat president Pat Riley is going to want to beat his former team. Remember, there were some hurt feelings on both sides when LeBron James left Miami. Remember that letter Pat Riley sent to LeBron? There were some hurt feelings there. Now, game 1 is tonight, but here's the big question. How is this series going to go? Well, there are a few things you should watch for if you are, in fact, actually watching, the NBA at all. So, like all 3 of you out there watching it, here's what you want to watch for. The first thing I want to watch for is who can score points in the paint. This might be one of the most important things to watch because the Lakers beat the Nuggets in 4 relatively close games in the Western Conference Finals, primarily because they outscored them in the paint. If LeBron and Anthony Davis are getting to the basket, you have problems because then they can kick it outside to shooters, and that's all just bonus points. The stuff in the paint, that's actually where they're making their living, though. But against the Nuggets, it wasn't just LeBron and Anthony Davis. You had Rajon Rondo, you had Kyle Kuzma, you had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Danny Green, Dwight Howard. They were all getting to the hoop whenever they wanted to. If that happens against Miami, the Heat are going to be in some trouble. Now, Miami will try to make it tough for the Lakers to get to the basket because they'll go to that 2-3 zone and they'll try to force the Lakers to shoot from outside. That hasn't always been the Lakers' strength. Another thing I want to watch, who is going to control the boards? I would think that the Lakers would have a decided rebounding advantage with Anthony Davis, with Dwight Howard, with LeBron James, but for some reason, Anthony Davis doesn't really seem to be rebounding all that much. In the first 3 games against the Nuggets, Davis had 5, 5, and 2 rebounds. You're a big man. You can't go get 2 more rebounds than I got sitting at home on my couch. Not sure what that was about, But you might want to pick that up a little bit. Now, I do expect the Lakers to roll in this series. They're the big dog. They've been the best team all year. I'm going to say Lakers in 5, but here's one thing I want you to watch. The Heat were dominated statistically by the Boston Celtics over in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you know what? It didn't matter. The Heat are highly efficient. Here's one more thing to watch, and there are no stats involved in this. Watch the Heat move on offense. They don't stop moving. And they don't have many wasted possessions. They take care of the basketball and they get good shots. Can the Heat run the Lakers out of gas and then win some games late? I'm taking the Lakers in 5. But I mean, the Heat won't make us think back to the Detroit Pistons of like 2004. Will they? Let's move over to the NFL. We are now 3 games in, and we are already seeing some trends in the National Football League. Of course, we know there's a million injuries. We kind of knew that was coming. But here's another trend we're seeing. We're not seeing many penalties called. And I don't think it's a coincidence. The NFL knows full well, hey, we're losing money at the gate in attendance. We know there's a lot of people that don't want to watch the NFL because of the political stuff. We don't want people screaming about the officials too. We don't want our officials calling some holding on the backside of the play that didn't affect the play whatsoever. So right now, NFL refs are swallowing their whistles for the most part. We'll see a bad call here or there, but for the most part, they're not calling that many penalties, and it's making for a much better product. I want the players deciding the games. I've never bought a ticket or turned on the TV to say, hey, you know, I was really wondering how that ref was doing. Right now, the NFL is limiting the refs' involvement in these games, and that's a very, very good thing. A few more trends we've noticed. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, they look good. They're 3-0. They're scoring 30 points a game. They're allowing 20 points per game, so they're winning by an average of double digits. But here's the thing. The Chiefs aren't even clicking yet. On Monday night, they beat the Baltimore Ravens 34-20. And again, they looked okay. They looked really good at times. At times, they kind of looked like they were kind of sleepwalking. The defense might have looked better than the offense at times because they held Ravens quarterback and reigning league MVP Lamar Jackson to just 97 yards. I mean, that's not bad for a running back, but it's not great for a quarterback when the Baltimore Ravens are talking about going out and winning the Super Bowl. Here's the thing. What happens if the Kansas City Chiefs actually start playing well? They're not even playing that great right now. Kansas City Chiefs are a scary, scary team. Another trend that we are noticing in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks are winning games, and it's primarily because of quarterback Russell Wilson. Right now, Russell Wilson is your MVP because the Seahawks are 3-0, and Wilson has already thrown 14 touchdown passes. You know, Russ might throw the most accurate deep ball I have ever seen, ever in the history of the league. He is so accurate throwing that long pass. He is averaging 9 yards per pass, and he doesn't really have that much help around him. I mean, the Seahawks are down to what, their 4th running back or something? Russell Wilson has been amazing. Another trend that we're seeing, if Russell Wilson isn't the MVP, it's probably going to Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers because the Packers are scoring points at a record rate, and Rodgers, it looks like he's on a mission to prove the Packers front office was dead wrong when they wasted a draft pick on quarterback Jordan Love. The Packers are right now scoring 41 points per game, and Rodgers has already thrown 9 touchdowns. Hey, we have seen Green Bay get out of the gate pretty quick before, but this actually looks a little bit better. A couple other trends that we've noticed. We thought the NFC East would be bad, but did anyone think it would be this bad? I mean, currently, every single team has a negative point differential in that division. The Washington football team is tied for first place in the NFC East with the Dallas Cowboys. They each have a, wait for it, 1-2 record. The Eagles are next with an 0-2-1 record after they tied the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Now, the New York Giants are in dead last at 0-3. But let's go back to the Eagles. Because head coach Doug Peterson is taking some serious heat around the country and especially in Philadelphia for punting the ball around midfield when the Eagles were in overtime and there was only like 18 seconds left to play, which basically ensured a tie. Like, You could have gone for it on fourth down, maybe got it, maybe didn't. He decided to punt. We know it's going to be a tie. That'll be it. Doug Peterson, what in the world are you doing? Go for the win. Hey, I get it. But I also look at this division and I say, wait a second. A tie for the Eagles is basically a win in that mess. I mean, just keep tying, Doug. 2 or 3 more ties, you're going to be in first place, bro. No shame in a tie, not in the horrible NFC East. Finally, staying with NFL trends that we're kind of learning over these first 3 weeks, the Mitchell Trubisky experiment seems to be over in Chicago because he was once again horrible on Sunday and the Bears benched him. Now, we predicted this moment would be coming back in week 1 when the Detroit Lions let Trubisky off the hook. He had looked horrible all game. All of a sudden, he got hot in the fourth quarter, and Trubisky was okay again. The Bears took him back. Well, this past Sunday, Trubisky went 13 of 22. He had 128 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception, and the Bears were losing to those lowly Atlanta Falcons. They finally had enough. They dumped Trubisky to the bench. They brought on veteran Nick Foles, who, of course, came on and threw 3 touchdowns and won the game for the Bears. Now, before Bears fans start getting their Super Bowl tickets, hey, we're 3-0, and now Nick Foles is playing. Who knows what we could do? Well, I do. I can tell you what you'll do. Remember this. Nick Foles is a career 500 quarterback. He had 1 great season in Philly. That was it. But understand this. This is his 9th year in the league as a starter. He's 26 and 22. And he'll probably do the same thing this year. It's who he is. Meanwhile, if you're the Chicago Bears, what do you do with Mitch Trubisky? I mean, remember, he was a 2nd overall pick of that 2017 NFL draft. He was taken in front of guys named Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. But he's just been so erratic. He's been so inaccurate. He's a big, strong guy, but it looks like he could be done in Chicago. I think they may just end up cutting Mitch Trubisky. Wait a second. Hold on. Oh, no. Chicago, you can't cut Mitch Trubisky. No. You cannot cut Mitch Trubisky. I want you to think about this. Joe Flacco, Mark Sanchez, Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky? John Elway and the Denver Broncos are going to sign him in a hot second if you cut him. It's science. Chicago, don't do it. I'm begging you. Do not cut Mitch Trubisky. Okay, YouTube, be sure that you go over and you check out the entire podcast. This week on the show, we've actually got to talk a little bit more sports news. We're going to be talking some college football. It's been wild already. But then we're actually going to be previewing the Major League Baseball playoffs, which are going to be completely different this year. They've revamped the format. It's going to be a wild year in the baseball postseason. We are going to have a young guy stop by, and he's going to give us some insights on the baseball postseason. Plus, I actually give him a chance to ask me some questions for a change as well. So make sure that you go over and you check out the full podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you to check out. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week, everybody.